every single combat in the game. We've got obviously must-have at the top, and by must-have, it's like this is the one you need to get. This is the one combat you need. I mean, like, not maybe the one, but you get what I'm saying. You need to have this content. It's like top content. The 5-star, the 4-star, the 3-star. You can literally use them all in your team. Very, very, very good content. Then we've got quite useful, but not essential. So it's like, listen, if you've got it, I would level it. I would use it. You know, it's pretty decent. You know, I would not say it's like top level, but it's good. Then we've got okay, but wouldn't chase. And that kind of means that, you know, if you've got it, you might as well put it on a bot. You know, and you might as well use it in some way. If you use a bot for Zen farming, putting it on him will make him more powerful. So you might as well use it. And then you've got would only use on low priority bots. Because if you've got it, you might as well use it for something. But it's not going to do much really to improve that bot. Really, it's pretty crap. So that's, you know, you might as well, if you get a 2-star, I get my 2-stars and put them on low bots, low levels Zen bots. So even 2-stars can be used for something. But the problem is you don't want to be chasing this stuff. You know, you don't want to be spending money chasing particular combats that are never going to really do much for your war team or for leveling or for Zen farming or whatever it is. But anyway, let's get into it. So first off, we've got Lionizer and Catgut. So would only use on low priority bots. And I know I'm going to do some of these, and some people are going to disagree and go like, "What? You're crazy, Wozza." But yeah, I don't. Yes, it's an increase, but there's new combats that have a lot better in terms of damage. And I'm not a big fan of combats that do X and then they go, "Oh, and when your bot dies," I don't plan on my bots dying. I don't go into attack thinking, "Oh right, if I lose that bot." If I'm thinking like that, then I've got my team set up wrong. I don't want to lose that bot. I understand on Zen farming, you might sort of like, you know, have the bot die, and then you sort of like, you know, Lionizer jumps out and kills a HQ with that last little thing, and you go, yes. But then again, if you would put a different combat on it, you'd probably get more DPS out of that bot, and it would have took it down himself anyway without Lionizer and Catgut, and he probably wouldn't have died. So only use on low priority bots. And sadly, that is the same for Ravage and Night Stalker. You know, these sort of minions, you can maybe use them on defense if you're a low level player. Then we've got Fire Drive and Blowpipe. So I'm not a fan of their range, but they do give you quite a good buff in damage. So they're okay. I wouldn't go out and buy a bundle, especially for getting them and go, yes, I really want these. I think the main problem is that they don't shoot over walls. And some people look at that and go, why is that even a problem, Wozza? It's because I think that personally, I think if you can't shoot over walls, then it means you're shooting at the wall. And while you're shooting at the wall, the defenses at the other side of the wall can sort of hit you. So you're not taking anything out. So if you have a big team of combats that are all hitting walls, it's not too bad because you can literally shred walls really quickly. But if you have a mixture of some that can shoot over walls and some shoot at walls, the pathing changes, and all of a sudden the ones that shoot at walls can walk round walls. So there's some clever designs out there that make you do that. And so, you know, walking around walls is pretty woeful. You don't really want that for your team, so not the best. Pterodon Traxodon, I'm going to put in the quite useful but not essential. The healing is quite good. The damage is so-so. But obviously, anti-healing cores don't affect combats. So for the healing, they are quite decent. I tend to put mine on the Blaster, and it heals him quite well. Then we've got Flak and Creator Maker. I've got a name then. They are very good. They're borderline. I wouldn't say the must-have. Must-have for me is like what the top level players are using. And I think you'll find that some top level players might use these. But if you had a choice, maybe not, personally. I don't know. I think coupled with Primer, maybe. They're sort of in between. You know, they're not quite... They are very useful, but I wouldn't say must-haves. I would maybe buy a bundle to get them if I didn't have them. But I won't be disappointed if I didn't buy a bundle, if that makes sense. So, if you can afford to go and chase them, yeah, go and chase them. But if you can't, it's not the end of the world. You're not going to miss out much. Top Shop and Fine Line, I'm literally going to put in must-have. And I know some people are going to say, what? Since their nerf? You're crazy, Wozza. But with the big acid meta and the big fire meta, where everyone's using right now with other combats that are fire and acid, they do really well. They do crazy amount of damage in a big area. So I would honestly rank them as must-haves in the current meta. Either in my team, and although they're not quite the same range as some other combats, I think they are still really, really good. I mean, back in the day, they were literally OP, the best combat in the game by far. And after the nerf, they are still very, very good though, guys, but obviously not as OP as it used to be. Then we've got Dial and Overkill. And again, because of these minions that don't do anything else, literally going to be put on low priority bots. Then we've got Smashdown and Razor Sharp. So again, only put them on low down priority bots. They don't really do much in terms of damage. The bots that they can go on tend to be melee bots, which also struggle for health and things. So, not the best of bots. Then we've got Trenchfoot and Caliburst. Again, they're very similar to Fire Drive and Blowpipe in case of that they are very good at increasing damage. But the fact they don't shoot over walls is not the best. I'm not a big fan. They are good on Sideswipe, so it can be useful if you're using Sideswipe. Yeah, not so much for me. Then we've got Rung and Shrew. I think they're quite useful. They make your healer heal in an area. So, pretty good. Honest with you, one of the better combats. Absolute crazy damage, especially using Smokescreen and such bots. Really, really good. But they're really useful in keeping your bots back. And there's certain situations where you can be hitting the HQ with defenses behind it, and those defenses can't reach those bots. Glitch and Gatorface and bots and combats like that, they keep your bots so far back that they just tend to not get hit by anything at all. But the problem you've got is that what you find is that your frontline bots are there, and then your healers are behind, and these guys are behind your healers. But then some people put Micronus on their healers, and sort of, have a good sort of healing effect around such bots, like, that have Glitch and Gatorface on. So yeah, definitely must-have bots. Absolutely amazing. Then we've got Sound Barrier and Double Cross. I would put them on low priority bots. They're not the best. There's another bot coming up that's a lot better. They could maybe go into okay, but wouldn't chase, maybe. But yeah, they're not the best. Stripes and Glit, I would put them in okay, wouldn't chase. They've got good healing, really good healing. But the problem is that the health isn't the best, and they can get killed quite quickly. So that's a bit of a downfall for Stripes and Glit, but they can be useful in certain situations. But yeah, the HP is a bit of a worry. Then we've got Top Heavy and Sight, so not quite as good as Glitch and Gatorface, but they do give you good range and good damage in a line, but not quite as crazy damage as Glitch and Gatorface, so just below them and quite useful. Then we've got Red Heat and Bomb Shock, and again, these sort of minion combats, pretty awful. Don't do much really in terms of improving your team, so they go down there. Then we've got Spoil Sport and Aimless. I'd go in quite useful. I think they're alright. Not quite the range of some other combats that have got a good range like Flak and Crater Maker, but a decent amount of damage. I've had them in my team for quite a while, maybe not so much anymore, hence why I put them down to quite useful. The bots that you'll find in must have are generally the bots that I will have in my war team right now and I'm using. And then the ones below that tend to be the combats that I put on bots surrounding that, or bots that I used to have in my team, or bots that I don't mind switching out. And literally all those right now are quite useful. I've had in my war team in the past, but I've been replaced over time with better ones. Then we've got Rat Trap and Vertebrate. So again, quite useful. I mean, they are sort of minions like Stripes and Glit, but that anti-stun, anti-hack is very, very useful against the likes of Computron and Lyle Kaiser. So if you can get a couple of these on your team, then they can work really, really well. So yeah, decent combats. Air Razor and Tombot, I'd say okay, wouldn't chase. They're pretty good on defense. But not essential. Again, there's better combats out there for defense. Um, then we've got Shieldron and Fangatron, and they literally go into must-have, guys. I know people are gonna go, well, why is Soundbite Double Cross down there and Shieldron and Fangatron up there? It's honestly the hollow, it's the protection it gives. I use them with Rook to get a free pop, so it saves me ability points. So I actually love that these combats, sorry, for that reason, to get a free pop, and the fact that they also keep the bot alive. So really, really good combats. Then we've got a Dazzle Strike and Geezer. So I'd put them in quite useful, but not essential. Can be very good, don't get me wrong, in certain circumstances. But again, there's just better combats out there for your bots. But obviously decreasing the range of defenses is quite useful. And like I said, yeah, quite useful. And then we've got I forgot the names of these. Road Burner and Power Punch. So again, literally same as Red Heat and Bomb Shot down here. Pretty woeful. Obviously made them so they can do extra damage against shock towers, but then they can't even get range of shock towers. What's the point? So pretty woeful.